I would now like to give the floor to Ms. Magdalena Kurz, Policy Officer at the European Youth Forum, who is replacing their board member, Mr. Falco Morse. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Martin. A warm welcome also from my side. I would like to speak today about the European Youth Forum approach towards working towards an enabling environment for volunteering in Europe. To give you a short overview, I would like to let you know why volunteering is important for the European Youth Forum, how we endorsed the PAVE, the Policy Agenda for Volunteering in Europe, which approach we are taking in this endorsement, and how we want to build on past work, and how we invite you to join us in building on this past work. So the European Youth Forum is a volunteer-based, volunteer-led organization, which is the case for many organizations which are also present here today. And we are representing millions of young volunteers which are active every day. And therefore, EU policies on volunteering are core issues for about 100 member organizations. And volunteering is the basis of all our work. The rights of the volunteers are among our concern, and we see the European Year of Volunteering 2011 as an opportunity to stress this. 2 weeks ago, the European Youth Forum endorsed the PAVE in form of a resolution at the Council of Members in Braga, the European Youth Capital 2012. We welcomed the adoption of the PAVE by the Alliance, and we declare our support to the PAVE and commit to its implementation. The PAVE is a very long document, so we try to share our expertise on the issues where we have most knowledge. So let me read out some lines here from the PAVE. The PAVE states, "An enabling and facilitating environment for volunteering needs a combination of support mechanisms and/or appropriate organizational structures which can be further strengthened by sustainable legal frameworks and clearly identified rights and responsibilities for volunteers and volunteering." The European Youth Forum would like to achieve this through the creation of support mechanisms for volunteers and for the organizations as well. We're working on a rights-based approach on volunteering. So this is the approach that the European Youth Forum decided to take. What is a rights-based approach on volunteering? A rights-based approach towards volunteering must be put in place in order to ensure quality, recognition, protection, and equal access for everyone without any kind of discrimination. So now when we look at Europe, Europe is very diverse. The legal frameworks in Europe on volunteering, if they are in place, are very diverse. In some countries, the absence of a legal framework is an obstacle for volunteers and volunteering organizations. In other countries, however, a legal framework can be restrictive, can be a burden for volunteers and for volunteering organizations. It was mentioned this morning already that a rights-based approach, like any approach on volunteering, needs to foster the diversity of volunteering and respect the national realities and subsidiarity. But we would like to focus on what are the common challenges, what are the common difficulties, and what are the common needs and issues that volunteers and volunteering organizations face. How do we want to do that? Where do we want to start? Luckily, we have worked a lot this year all together, so we don't have to start at zero and invent the wheel again. And we would like to build on this past year's work. And the European Youth Forum aimed to use 2011 to develop a truly rights-based approach on volunteering in Europe. It invited all institutional and civil society partners to join us in this approach and to join us in the development of a European Charter on the rights and responsibilities of volunteers. This charter was developed in different steps. First, of course, evidence-based, gathering studies, surveys, statistics. We published a report on the status of volunteers. That was the first step. The second step was a huge consultation process. This consultation process was open to member organizations, institutions, and civil society partners within the Alliance. And we thank you for your participation in this process. And so we launched online consultations, a series of events and activities. And now we have a draft charter. But the third step was the development of a declaration. a declaration on the rights-based approach on volunteering, which was developed by all stakeholders present at the stakeholder conference at the European Parliament in September and the Convention on Volunteering. And in this declaration, we give a first outline, basically, how could we implement such a charter? Because we tried to distinguish these things. What are the core rights and how to implement them? Considering this entire context, the Euroforum commits to continue sharing its expertise on the rights-based approach on volunteering and advocate for the PAVE, as it's stated in the PAVE, to ensure that the rights and responsibilities of volunteers are recognized and respected, and that volunteers themselves are aware of them. A European Charter on the rights and responsibilities of volunteers could be used as a reference for policy making and national legislation in this field. This charter would give us a common understanding of volunteering, volunteers and volunteering involving organization, and it would give a common set of basic rights, core rights for volunteers, but also for volunteering organizations, which play an important role. I would like to mention at this point, and stress especially, that the Charter is not considered as a legal instrument for the European level, because we are still far away from that, but to serve as an appeal for designing and updating policies related to volunteering on all levels. And we refrain from addressing concrete implementation mechanisms. We give just an action plan in the declaration, which was adopted in September. But we focus on defining and stating the core rights and responsibilities of volunteers and volunteering involving organizations. So I would like to close with inviting you as civil society and institutional partners to do two things: endorse the PAVE and implement the PAVE on the level where it's possible for you. And secondly, the European Youth Forum invites you to the second round on consultation for the European Charter on the Rights and Responsibilities of Volunteers. And we aim at building at the current draft, which is there, to develop a charter that truly works towards an enabling environment for volunteering and contributes to the implementation of the PAVE. Thank you.